So today we're actually here with something quite a bit special. It's going to be the premiere of a brand new series, that being 5 cool mods that came out in the past week. The series is not in any way related to that Mods Weekly series that I typically post on every single Sunday. I assure you it has nothing to do with the fact that the next episode of Mods Weekly is episode 100 and requiring a lot of additional work by me, so it actually was delayed a week, but I definitely did not change any of the episode numbering on previous episodes to actually buy me an extra week to start work on that. With that being said, welcome to the first and last episode of 5 cool mods released in the last week. Again, totally unrelated and very different than Mods Weekly. In the last video, I actually asked you guys or mentioned to you that if you watch to the end of that video, it actually significantly promotes the video compared to other videos. Well, that definitely worked because that video did way better than most other videos I've been uploading as of late. So again, if you guys don't know, one of the best ways to help YouTubers out is actually to watch through the entirety of their video. With all that being said, we could just jump into today's video. So first and foremost, we have what is probably the second coolest release of this week, and that's going to be the Crossed Cryo Lance. I actually showed you guys quite a bit of this in my upcoming mod series. It was the next big release by Nero, who has been just pumping out cool content for Fallout 4, ranging from different pieces of equipment to actually tons of different armor mods, and a lot of these being Institute themed in some way. More or less what we're seeing right now though is going to be a cross between the Cryolator and a railgun. So think of it as a kind of cryo railgun. As you hit people with this thing, they're actually going to freeze, and it is going to be a railgun in the sense that you actually have to charge up your shots. One of the really cool aspects about this that I don't want to go unnoticed is, as you actually choose your different receiver types to do more damage, there is a visual change. More or less, there's going to be additional rails added. So one rail will do X amount of damage, but then as you add 2 and then 3 rails, it's going to do increasing amounts of damage, actually getting to be extremely powerful. Pretty similar to how the vanilla railgun works in Fallout 4. Outside of that though, this is actually a fairly simple mod. There's a few different changes you can make to it. It's going to add in some new scopes, you could change the textures and things like that. It has the typical texture pack you can download like with many of the other mods by Nero, but otherwise it definitely is going to be a quality mod. It's going to fill out the higher end of those level lists. Some of those really high level enemies will now start spawning with this, and definitely gives you some options as you get to the later part of the game, which I'm pretty happy to see. Maybe this inspired you to think about the vanilla Cryolator. This of course being something that just appears in Fallout 4 in Vault 111 by default. We actually got a mod for this by DPolari. Cryolator HD is, well, it's going to do what you guess. It's going to make the Cryolator have new textures that are significantly higher quality and just all around better looking. Outside of that, the Cryolator is actually going to be identical to its vanilla version, but again, textures and the visuals of it are going to make it look quite a bit different. This thing in general is very unique, probably one of the most distinctive things in Fallout 4 as a whole. And getting these new textures that are very true to its original style, but at the same time just looking a bit better, definitely gets me to use it more than I did previously. Then we have the Banshee Recon armor. This is a pretty cool armor mod, and it's going to be one of those female armor mods that's maybe not the most appropriate for a female armor. You'd think there'd be more covering, but it's definitely a quality armor, and it is appropriate enough to get a lot of people to use it. There's actually only going to be one of these placed throughout the Commonwealth, and it's going to come with its own custom crate and a lot of other custom features that make it feel pretty special. Right off the bat, I personally think it looks pretty cool. I like the aesthetic of this one. The armor itself is built around a way that actually makes kind of a lot of sense for a sniper to be using this. In addition, there's actually something pretty cool going on with the back of this armor. Depending on what customization options you do have on this, it can actually change what little lights light up. It's fairly self-explanatory, but basically these are all different options you can configure in the armor workbench to get different effects on that armor, and it is again represented on this. These are lighting up, so when you go into darkness, you're going to see these illuminated, which is a pretty cool effect that I definitely like. All around, this is actually a great armor. Even if you yourself don't play with the female character, if you have any of the female companions and you want to give them a sniper in Fallout 4, I would say this is a great armor to give to them. It definitely stands out, it's unique, you're not going to see it in the level list of other people, and has a lot of cool little details that really do make it stand out from the pack. Alright, so this mod's really freaking cool. It's going to be the next new release by M150, only having come out a few hours ago. Commonwealth Carriages is going to add in this little carriage that you can use to travel from point A to point B at the cost of 100 caps. So there are of course a bunch of alternative fast travel mods out there. The big distinctive difference that this one brings to the table is you actually have to sit in it as it drives you from point A to point B. So as you saw, I selected the castle. This thing's going to drive you all the way to the castle. It's going to have its own predefined route, and it's pretty freaking cool. Definitely one of the most immersive fast travel mods for Fallout 4. You actually can get out of it at any point. Sometimes I kind of fell through the earth, but then it quickly recovered, and you could get back into it, deciding a new route, or you could just leave it and go do your normal thing and take on whatever enemies are around you. That's one of the kind of interesting things about this. As you're in it, enemies will still attack you, but you can't do anything back unless you like stopped it and get out. You're just immortal, so they can't actually hit you. In addition, as you do see, I do have dog meat on this, but you could have other companions in the backseat also if you want something like that going on. Either way, I think this is a really cool mod. It's like a fairly balanced alternative to fast travel. The 100 caps is a little bit steep, but I think you could change that fairly easily, at least on PC. It's not an Xbox One just yet, but you know, since some of you guys do get salty when I don't feature enough Xbox mods, we also do have this tank mod that did get ported over to Xbox One just recently. It's pretty cool. It's going to add this thing in as something you could build in the robot crafting bench and use it as a companion. So you can't get the carriage just yet, but you can get this tank as your companion as an alternative. And I'm sure the carriage will be on Xbox One in the coming weeks, as with pretty much all of M150's mods.
Switching to close range combat. Hostility mode suspended.
So then finally, we have one that's actually an Xbox exclusive, but it's going to be a huge quality of life mod for Xbox users. What's going to be is Sim Settlements 3-in-1. It's actually going to be nothing new for Sim Settlements, but it's going to combine the base Sim Settlements mod, as well as the Rise of the Commonwealth, as well as the Industrial Revolution expansion packs into one ESM file. So no longer will you have to manually update all 3 files, you just have to update this one file and download this one file now. So after downloading this, you can remove those other mods, actually reducing your mod limit. This is a really cool release from King Gath. Obviously, it's not going to really benefit him much because he plays on PC, but it's just going to be a quality of life mod that maybe if you're at that 150 mod limit, I think that's what it is on Xbox One, this is going to save some space for you, as well as just make it way more convenient when you actually have to update Sim Settlements, which it does get pretty consistent updates. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys enjoy the content, you can do a number of things. You could like or comment on this video, you could follow me on Twitter, you could join the Discord, or you could check out the merch store. These callouts are becoming longer and longer, but either way, we do have the psych fun fact for the day. And actually, very recently, I finished up one of my classes, and I was just kind of sitting there, and I was like, none of this stuff will be on the final paper. It was like one of those classes where I'm like, I already know I learned everything I need to for my grade, so I just started writing down psych fun facts based off what was being said in that class and compiled a list. So I have a few good ones for the next couple episodes. Either way, the first one's actually going to be on FBI biodata. So what this is going to be all about is more or less a survey that the FBI in particular is going to give applicants that actually correlates onto their performance later on. That's not that crazy. I mean, things correlating to performance, whether it be a personality test or things like that, you know, they kind of make some sense. There's definitely some empirical backing to that. This one in particular is pretty different though, because it is biodata, which is more or less biography data. So for the questions actually on this survey are, how did you prep for finals in college? How often are library books overdue? Like library books that you have, how often do you let them get to be overdue? Do you enjoy surprise parties? How many times have you thrown something when angry in the past year? So these are very odd and specific questions, but more or less there was research done and these correlate to certain things. And again, this is from a legit FBI survey that they give to applicants. So maybe if they're looking for someone who's particularly analytical, and there is a correlation between people that don't enjoy surprise parties and those who are successful at analytical jobs, then if you answer, no, I don't enjoy surprise parties, you would be more qualified based on the survey. I know, I was learning about it in class and I was like, this is such a random mix of things, but apparently it is all empirically backed. And if it's the FBI, I imagine they are doing things at least somewhat legitimately. I thought it was pretty interesting, so I wanted to share it with all of you. As always, I thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.